Hey guys, what's up? It's Zooch doing another replay review, this time coming from Blitz. Blitz sent me his deck list. Here it is. It's a standard Lilith Swarm type list. It's got Dancing Blades in it, which is not something I've seen too often, but it's obviously a great card, so no critique there or anything like that. I don't normally show the lists just because it's not always that important, but if someone's going to send me their list, I'll obviously put it up for people to see. Here it is. One thing to note is we do have one Darkfire Sacrifice, which I kind of like since he's running a lot of sort of more expensive spells. Anyway, let's take a look and see what Blitz has going on. Again, for folks who are interested in participating in the replay review series, there's a link at the bottom of the video. So click that Discord server link and it'll explain how you can submit stuff. So I think a pretty obvious throwback of Spectral Revenant here, which it seems like Blitz is doing. And I like keeping everything else because you clearly want your cheaper things at the beginning. Okay. So I think it seems to me a pretty, I won't say obvious, but I do think I would like to save this for the mini jacks as opposed to like pinging the jacks here. Okay, we can do a couple things. So I'm not going to sort of read too much into this first turn, but I think it's important to note you could do one of two things. One thing you might be interested in trying is playing the Primus Fist here and then playing the Gloom Chaser right here. And that gives you a sort of high chance of getting this Mana Spring. Or at least if the Wraithling spawns here, then you can, stop the Jaxi from moving on there without, Riva having to come over and kill this. So, as opposed to, or I guess one thing you could do is play the Gloom Chaser here, and if the Wraithling spawns in either of these three places, you can Primus Fist right here and take it. So, let's see what our person does. Okay. Throws down the Gloom Chaser. And does he get it? No, oh well. So I don't think there's anything to critique with that. I don't know if I would necessarily have thrown away the Primus Fist, but it's a fine decision, I suppose. That's a nice card to have early in the game because it lets you get some tempo, but there's certainly no fault in trying to get, something better for the upcoming turns. Let's turn the real time off, especially on the opponent's turn. Okay. Arrow Whistler. Looks like we're playing a ranged deck. Okay. So what do we got here? We can't play this Black Soulless, which is a little unfortunate. And we can't get to the Arrow Whistler, which is likewise unfortunate. So I guess the question to me is, how do we deal with this card? I think the first and most obvious thing that we do is this is going to die. We're going to kill this with either a General or a Gloom Chaser. And then we're going to ping the mini jacks. And then I think I'd like to play the Spelljammer. And honestly, probably end up taking the Spelljammer, taking this Mana Tile with the Spelljammer or, with the Blood Tear Alchemist, just to prevent the opponent from getting it. Let's see what happens. All right. Well, I definitely would not have thrown back the Black Soulless, I don't think. Primarily because Black Soulless is such a good minion. Like, it's such a powerful minion. Songhai has some ways to kill it, especially Riva, because they might be running Deathstrike Seal. And so they have, Deathstrike Seal or Onyx Bear Seal. But if they don't have either of those two cards, Songhai has a really hard time clearing even just a 4/7, let alone a 5/11. I mean, I don't run a whole lot of silences in my Songhai lists. So, like, without one of those straight-up removal spells, it's a really hard threat to get rid of. Okay. One thing that I think, note, hold on one sec. I would not have traded my Wraithling in for the mini jacks, or the Jaxi. you could have easily kept your Wraithling on the board and just traded in this Gloom Chaser. Not even traded in, just use your Gloom Chaser to, pick that off. Then you have a 2/1 Gloom Chaser and a 1/1 Wraithling still on the board. It seems sort of insignificant, but if you can kill an opposing minion and leave your minion on the board, that's super powerful. So I think I would have definitely not used the Wraithling there. Although it's nice that it's back here, you can just come up and hit it with your general if you'd like, as opposed to using the Blood Tear Alchemist. Okay, we played the Spelljammer and we played the Blood Tear. Right. So I think, like I suggested, I might have done something a little bit different since it spawned back here. You could have come and killed it with your general, and you could have saved the Blood Tear for later. You could have then played like a Spelljammer and a Primus Fist instead. So, instead of just getting this 2/1 out, which might be better later, you can get a bigger body out and one which, you could have put over here to threaten this thing next turn or something like that. Not out and out incorrect, but I think you could have and probably ought to have saved this and, gotten to the mana tile with your Gloom Chaser that turn. Okay. No. Jade Monk. All right. All right, this seems like a pretty wise decision. You could have, if Deathfire Crescendo, or if your Spelljammer was anywhere close to all this other stuff, this could have been a nice play. I think you're valuing this Spelljammer a little too much. That having been said, overall, play was played pretty perfectly in my opinion. I think I would have tried to put the Blood Tear Alchemist closer to the Arrow Whistler. Like, you really want to overload. If you're trying to kill this thing, which you can with Primus Fist in your hand, I don't see a point in putting it down here. So, like right now, he can move the Arrow Whistler up, shoot the Primus Fist, and then kill the Primus Fist with his general, and then you have no creature near it anymore. Whereas if you'd put the Blood Tear right up here, then, he could shoot the Blood Tear and then block off the Primus Fist. But at that point, you've got another body on the board still. Anyway. Okay. So Phoenix Fire hits the Spelljammer. I assume... Okay. Yeah. It's interesting why he killed the Wraithling as opposed to the Blood Tear Alchemist. Alright. Let us see. We've got this Blood Moon Priestess, which seems pretty good, because we can play the Blood Moon Priestess and the Primus Fist this turn. We'll kill 3 creatures, and that's pretty solid. The Blood Moon Priestess will die, but our other option is like playing Black Soulless here, and that doesn't seem particularly good. One thing to note is that if you had kept the Deathfire Crescendo, you could have Deathfire Crescendo the Wraithling, and it would have been a 5/5. It's probably not good, but I always like to think about, what could I have done here. Anywho, yeah, I think Blood Moon Priestess and Primus Fist are easily where we go from here. And where do we put this? We could put it right up here, so that if he's going to... okay. So I don't love this play for a couple reasons. Namely, if he has a way to deal with this card, then you probably lose the game. Whereas with the other way, you get another body on the board, and then you get 3 other Wraithlings that, if you had put like the Blood Moon Priestess right here, 3 creatures were going to die, and you'd have 3 of these spots taken up. So, I mean, it's not the best use of this card, but at the end of the day, like, it's a better use of your mana, and they only need like a Phoenix Fire to get rid of this, right? Like, he can do 2 with his face, move his Heartseeker over here, shoot it, and then Phoenix Fire to kill it. Or like an Onyx Bear Seal, or a Saber Spine Seal. Like, a 4/7 right now is not that impervious to dying. And I think I would have liked to have just overloaded the board with a bunch of little Wraithlings that could pick off his Heartseekers coming up. Yeah, Deathstrike Seal also a very efficient way to kill the Black Soulless. I'm surprised that he didn't use the Arrow Whistler to kill the Wraithling, but it's neither here nor there. Okay. So I think you have to use Spectral Revenant right here. And I think you have to kill this Heartseeker so that your general can kill this Deathstrike Heartseeker. Because if you don't kill this turn, you lose the game, it feels like. So I'd probably use the Spectral Revenant to smash in here and come up and hit this. And it's not obviously the best use of that Spectral Revenant to take out a Heartseeker, but I mean, yeah, there we go. Alright, well, so I don't like that play because this still has Deathstrike Seal on it, and it's just going to get to kill this for free. So I think you have to kill, I think you had to kill this so you could use your general to come up and kill this one. Right. I kind of envision, yeah, that happens. And then he's going to try to protect this, so he'll move his general either up 1 or 2. Yeah. And then put a creature right here to... Oh, really? Alright. I guess that was all he had. I almost would have preferred the Zenru being right here, but hey, whatever. Alright. I'm fine with that series of plays. I mean, he's down to 12. This represents a lot of potential damage. I think I might have wanted to even play the Blood Moon Priestess first. Or, I mean, you could have played Vorpal Reaver, but this leads to sort of a blowout if he has Onyx Bear Seal, which he might. But I think I would have preferred to play Blood Moon Priestess so that next turn, if you drop this, you can get a lot more triggers off of it. But I'm not against this this play at all. So, I mean, if you hadn't played this, who knows? He could have had enough burst to kill you. We'll see. All right. Ooh, that's a good draw. Okay, yeah. This would have been a blowout if you had played that. I think I still would have liked that just to get like a couple more Wraithlings out, but I guess it doesn't matter. You would have gotten a total of 1 Wraithling extra. Okay. Let's pause it. Is there any way to... I almost want to just Deathfire Crescendo this thing up, because you're going to get 2 triggers, so it's going to be 6 power. You can put him to 6, which is lethal, and then you can put this Vorpal Reaver over here too. I think I would probably try to throw away this Blood Moon Priestess, because if you draw a second Deathfire Crescendo, I think that's lethal. I always try to go for lethals if I can. So yeah, I probably would throw this away, because our turn right now is Deathfire Crescendoing this thing, in my opinion, and then playing Vorpal Reaver. I don't really think you need this. And if you get the extra Deathfire Crescendo, you can just kill your opponent this turn, which I always try to do, I think. And there's nothing wrong with playing this Blood Moon Priestess here, by the way. I think I would... The Deathfire Crescendo is the Pando. So I think I would have much preferred putting it on this guy, because you force the issue. You make him have to have an answer, because you're attacking him for 6. And that way you have lethal next turn if he doesn't have a way to remove this thing. And this is just too far away. He has, he's got 1, 2, at least 2 more turns of running away before this Pando can get to his general. And I don't know if this game is going to last two more turns. I do like retreating here because I think you've got board control. You don't want to inadvertently get your general killed by like an attack from the opposing general. Pandora, huh? Yeah, so case in point, if you had Deathfire Crescendoed this thing, it would have been a 6-7. It would be a 6-5, and he couldn't do this play because he couldn't have cleared this creature or gotten it out of the way. Yeah, I mean, obviously you didn't know he had Pandora, but this, if you had Deathfire Crescendoed this Primus Fist, you would have demanded an answer because 1 more hit would have killed him, and whereas like this thing just doesn't, it's going to be too far away for like the entirety of the game. All right. He's going very aggressive. All right. What do you have here? All right, so you're at 5, and you've got answers to everything on the board, which is nice. I think you move this Blood Moon Priestess here, put this Black Soulless right in his face. I guess you could put it over here. Use this Wraithling to kill this. Use the Primus Fist and this Wraithling to kill the Wolf. And then use Ritual Banishing to take care of the Pandora. And if there's a way to sort of enclose yourself with creatures, I would do that. But I think it's neither here nor there. Okay, let's see what he does. Okay. Perfect. I actually think I would kill this Heartseeker over here, because you've got an answer to this Pandora, and this Heartseeker represents like the only way. If he has a Killing Edge, you're dead. Or if he has like Saberspine Seal plus anything, you're dead. So you had a way to kill the Pandora with your Pando. You could just have attacked it. And then this represents a threat that like he could pump up and kill you. So if he has like a Killing Edge or something like that, he could have prevented an imminent death. Primus Fist? Okay. Yeah. So this is it's sort of exactly what happened right there. So, and my first inclination was to use the Ritual Banishing on the Pandora as well. So I'm not, faulting you for that per se, but you could have cleared the Pandora by another means and then used your Ritual Banishing to kill the Heartseeker, because the Heartseeker is like his vehicle to getting damage to you with cards like Primus Fist and cards like Killing Edge. So if you had gotten rid of it, he would have actually needed a series of spells to be able to kill you, like Inner Focus plus his Bloodborne spell plus Killing Edge, or like Phoenix Fire plus Phoenix Fire. So overall, I think you played the game pretty well. There were some things that I would have changed, but nothing that was too damning. The last turn, I think you could have made a different choice and won the game. Who knows what if he could have killed you otherwise, but I don't think so, because I think he replaced into the Primus Fist and the Killing Edge. Yeah, but overall, I thought you did well, and I think this is a good example to show, like, sometimes people have this notion that you're not getting the value of what the spell is by using it on, like, a weak minion. So, like, Ritual Banishing is a very powerful card, right? It costs 3 mana, first of all. You have to sacrifice a creature. And to use that on something like a Heartseeker seems almost like a waste, right? Like, I'm spending this incredible card, and I'm not even dealing with a card of his. I'm dealing with his Bloodborne spell. Like, that's a terrible return on investment. I mean, that's in a way true, but at the end of the day, it's not a terrible return on investment if you're preventing your death, right? Anyway, hindsight is 2020, but I think he could have easily cleared the board and won the game. But there you go. Anyway, check out my next video. I've actually got 2 coming up today, and we'll see you guys later.